I remember feeling and just knowing that my little baby was really someone special. What can I do to help his desires and concerns and opinions be heard, even if he can't speak? And then the therapist said, he's an obvious diagnosis. I, as his mom, did not mean to fix him. And I want him to feel that his mom gets him and understands him. And when he's jumping, then I go right next to him and I jump too. Hi, I'm Holly. I've got 5 kids, 1 girl and 4 boys, and a son named Ezra. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about Ezra today. Ezra loves to run and jump and play just like any typical little boy. And he's very good at slamming doors. Even if you think all the doors are closed, he'll find one that's not, and he'll close it for you. And at the end of this video, I'm going to share with you the most important piece of advice that I have ever received that made the biggest difference for me and my son. Ezra is autistic, and this is our story. My pregnancy and the delivery went pretty normal. I had had 3 kids before then, so I totally knew what I was doing, sort of. But I remember when I was in the hospital holding my little newborn, and I looked out the window, it's dark outside, and there were fireworks going off for New Year's Eve. And I remember feeling and just knowing that my little baby was really someone special. And boy, was I right. When we first took Ezra home, I was a little concerned because he didn't like to be held. He didn't really like to be touched. When Ezra was 3 months old, I began to worry because he had no eye contact and no social smile. When Ezra was about 6 to 9 months, that was a really hard time because when Ezra would learn how to do a certain skill, sometimes he would only do it for a few weeks and then he'd lose it. For example, he would respond to his name, he would turn around and look, and then he never did it again. Or he would start babbling, saying mama, dada, papa, and then he would stop and not babble anymore. When I took Ezra to his 1-year well checkup appointment with the doctor, I got that paper, that the nurse always gives you with the pen, and you have to check off how your child is doing as far as developmental delays. And I've done this before. This is my 4th child, right? And I started reading everything for Ezra. Does he stack blocks? No. Does he babble? No. Does he say these words? No. And every single question was no. And I remember I didn't really know what to say. I just handed it to the doctor when he came in. He took one look at it and said, all right, let's sign up for some early intervention for Ezra, which we did. And honestly, I was not very excited about a professional therapist coming into my house and judging my parenting and telling me what to do differently. I'm so grateful that I let the occupational therapist in my home because she helped me so much. My whole perspective of parenting changed. She taught me that I, as his mom, did not mean to fix him. She also taught me that what I could focus on was to help Ezra just obtain more autonomy. And I didn't even know what that word meant. What does autonomy even mean? The definition of autonomy is to self-govern, to have power and control over your own life. What can I do to help his desires and concerns and opinions be heard, even if he can't speak? That was something that I could hold on to. I can strive to help him with that. And I remember I was apologizing to her. Oh, Ezra likes to take people's shoes and throw them and hide them. And we couldn't find her shoes for a little while during one visit. And I just kept saying, well, I just don't know what to do. We try to hide the shoes, but we don't wear shoes in the house, so we have to have a place to put them. Should we put them up high? And then when people visit, then we have to hide their shoes. And it was just this big thing. And she said, well, why don't you just go to Walmart or the dollar store and get him a ton of sandals that he can grab onto and hold and throw, and just those dollar flip-flops. And you can write his name on them, put a big E on the back. That's what we did. I was like, that's genius. So she really opened my eyes to how I can turn those situations around. And I was very grateful for her coming in and doing that. And during one of our conversations, when he was about 14 months old, I finally mentioned the word autism. And I said, autism kind of runs in my family. And I think she'd been waiting for that. And she said, you need to get on the waiting list. I looked up every local doctor and none of them would see Ezra that young. But we did go to a speech pathologist, and during one session, I remember her saying, hey, I have a coworker who does assessments for kids on the spectrum, and I bet if I talk to her, she'll see you. And I was elated. I thought, that's awesome. And so she reassured me that her office would contact me, and we said goodbye. And I remember before I left, I turned the corner and put my bag down, and I was helping Ezra with something, and then she turned to the secretary and said, be sure to schedule Ezra with Dr. So-and-so so he can get tested. And the secretary said, he's too young. She won't see him. And then the therapist said, he's an obvious diagnosis. She'll see him. And for some reason, I was not ready to hear that. I was not prepared to hear a professional just diagnose him like that. And it took all of my power, my control of emotions that I had in me to just pick up my bags, pick up my child, and get him into the car and put him in his car seat, give him his toy, shut the door, get myself in my seat, shut the door, lock it, and ugly cry for a really long time. And I remember thinking, I can't drive home. I'm gonna have to call my husband and drive an hour to this hospital to come pick me up because I'm a mess. But I just waited and I was able to drive myself home. Now, this is what happened. It's the truth. It's important to tell your story truthfully. For most parents, it is a process. There were times when I was in complete denial, and then I kind of went back and forth between, oh, what if? What if Ezra is autistic? What would that mean for him in his life? And at this time, when the speech therapist mentioned to the secretary that Ezra's an obvious diagnosis, I was not at the acceptance stage yet, and it surprised me. There are times in the middle of the night when Ezra will scream and I don't know how to help him. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to fix this world that he lives in. All I can do is try and hold him and rock him and sing to him, and sometimes he doesn't even want that. And in those moments at night when he's screaming and I don't know how to help him, I feel like a mother with no hands. I feel like I'm there, but I can't do anything. But now I can see the blessing he is to our family. As we struggle together, we learn and grow in so many ways that wouldn't be possible without him. He brings a light to our family that no one else can. I've experienced some of the sweetest moments with my son Ezra. One time when he was only 3 years old and we were in kind of a dark room, and I remember I was sitting on the floor, he came right up to me and he looked at me right in my face. And by the way, he doesn't do that. It kind of freaked me out. I was like, oh, what's gonna happen? And he looked right in my eyes and he pointed at my shoulder, kind of like that, and said, Mama. That's all he said. But I really feel like he wanted me to know that he knows who I am. Even if he can't say it, he knows so much more than he can say. And I love that moment and I keep it close to my heart. It's important to see the blessings of autism and also honor the struggle. And that's the truth. And I don't want to sugarcoat it, because if I don't admit that there's a struggle, then anyone watching this video will think, oh, what's wrong with me because I struggle? But as we go through this life and become better people, Ezra is the one who teaches me the most. I see the good and the amazingness that is Ezra and what he brings to our family that no one else can. We ended up going to that doctor to get an assessment for Ezra. We went in and the doctor, bless her heart, she's like, now he's kind of young, so you're not gonna get a diagnosis today. But I knew better. We weren't in that room for like, more than 20 minutes before she turned to a doctor who was in residency and pointed at Ezra and said, "That is autism." And I was like, well, I guess we'll be getting our diagnosis today. And we did. And she handed me a bunch of paperwork and a binder, and I didn't know what to do with it. And when we got home that night and we had the official diagnosis, I had some pretty mixed feelings because I was happy and relieved and glad that we had a name with what was going on, so that we could get answers, so I could help my child have more autonomy in his life. But at the same time, I felt like someone had just pushed me in the pool and I didn't know how to swim and said, "Okay, you're swimming now." And so I couldn't sleep that night. I put all the kids to bed and I ended up just getting on the computer for hours. I didn't even know what I was looking for. I was just looking for something, and I wanted some kind of connection. I wanted someone to tell me that everything's gonna be okay. It's actually gonna be great. And just to reassure me. I wanted to find knowledge. I wanted to become educated. I wanted to be smart. I wanted to be able to give the world to my child. There wasn't much there that I felt a connection with. There were professionals that said words I didn't even understand, and I felt like, well, do I have to get my degree in autism to understand my child? Where is this headed? I'm like, if I need to, I will. At that time, I felt very alone, and no one needs to feel alone. No one does. If you have a child who's autistic, know you're in good company. You never have to feel alone. This is why I'm starting Real Autism Mom. I want to laugh with you. I want to cry with you. And I want to share everything that I've learned throughout the years. And I want to hear your stories. In this made up and crazy fake digital world that we live in, I want to create something that's real. I want to create it with you. Real Autism Mom is about real moms that are coming together, peacefully helping each other, because we all have autistic kids and they're pretty awesome. On this YouTube channel, we'll be sharing stories and tactical advice that'll help you prepare for your next IEP meeting, educate you on autistic culture, and share unbiased opinions so that you can decide for yourself what's best for your child. And when you subscribe and like a video and comment below, then that helps this message get to more people. It tells YouTube that these videos are worth sharing and watching. I'll be going live and doing Q&As and sharing experiences from other parents and other moms with autistic children. I created a free gift for you that I wish I had when I first started this journey. Click the link below in the description and it'll take you that free gift at realautismmom.com. Now, I want to share with you one of the biggest takeaways and tactical pieces of advice that I've ever received that made the biggest difference for me and my son who's autistic. And that is, make sure to enter their world, especially before you expect them to enter yours. So when Ezra will go next to a wall and start scratching it, then I'll go start scratching the wall too. And he looks over, kind of gives me the side eye. He notices that I have entered his world. And I want him to feel that his mom gets him and understands him. And when he's jumping, then I go right next to him and I jump too. I challenge you to enter your child's world in some way so that they can feel that they are understood. Entering the world of an autistic person who maybe is more independent will look different. Maybe it's just talking to them about their interests. It'll look different for every person. But entering an autistic person's world could simply be sitting with them and listening to how they experience the world and validating their feelings and being a safe place for them so they don't have to feel alone. Entering their world and truly seeing them and helping them feel seen is the best advice I have ever received to be able to connect with my son Ezra. So blow up the comment section, ask me anything. Let me know how you feel about this story. If you've connected with it, ask any question that you want, even if you think it's too personal, ask it. And I'll address it in a future live stream or future video. Do you want to meet Ezra? My family and I sold our home, we moved into an RV, and we're traveling to all the national parks in the USA. And I compiled an autism playlist with some of the most difficult times and some of the best times that we've had with Ezra on our trip. Click the video on the left to check out that playlist. And the video on the right, I answer the question, how can I tell if my child's autistic? I can't wait to meet you in the comments and on a live stream.